Hi, I'm Luke.
Hey, I'm Wyatt.
Hi, I'm Cyrus.
And I'm Tyler. So welcome to our first Super Good Entertainment podcast. This is, like I just said, our first as a little independent game developers company, if you will. I don't. Can we classify ourselves as a company?
Posse,
Posse company.
mafia, group,
Gathering.
conglomerate.
Yes. So we're currently working on a game. If you know us, you know what it is, but we're not going to spend too much time worrying about that. And we're not really going to spend a whole lot of time kind of introducing ourselves as a whole. We're just going to kind of go. But this is our first podcast into something relevant, because I know a lot of times people can spend a ton of time saying where they're going to go with a certain podcast, and we're not kind of like that. We kind of want to be a little bit different. So we're just going to start going into topics. The first one being a kind of a really hot topic, and it always has been for like the last 10 or 15 years, is the console versus PC debate. We, as a whole, enjoy games in general. I can probably speak for everyone on that. But we all have different ideas and different thought processes behind the debate itself. So let's kind of get into it. We can. Well, the main reason why the topic is even a thing is because of the current game Destiny. It just came out last week, and there's kind of a lot of anger behind it, because the PC gamers are really upset that they don't get to play it on PC because it's on console and they don't have consoles. So, I don't know. Let's start with Luke.
Oh crap.
Yeah, we're gonna go in order.
Let's see, console versus PC. I started out on consoles. I've always been raised on consoles. I personally feel like having a controller is something that's way more useful and feels a lot better. I don't know. Are we picking sides here? Like,
No, just kind of. I mean, what if you want to come down the middle and say I don't care about both? I probably think we're all gonna come to that, but
yeah. Well, when it comes to that, I would rather have both. To be honest.
But if you want to choose a side.
Well, okay.
Controversy in episode 1 is what we're going
If
for
you
here.
want to choose a side, or you're fired.
PC Master Race Pro consoles, Xbox forever.
MLG, bro.
I like consoles for Call of Duty. No, I would say probably I'm gonna go with PC. Not so much the Master Race thing, but I just like how you can upgrade them. To a certain extent, I like the creativity involved with PC. I like just having a multi-platform where I can do pretty much anything as compared to a console. I'll take breaks when I'm working on Photoshop to start playing a game, like Red Orchestra, or
We've been playing that one a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Classic game.
So, I don't even know where I was going with that thought now, so
We'll just move on then.
we'll move on, yeah.
Wyatt, what is your prime idea of gaming?
Originally I got mainly into games with the first Xbox, just because Halo came out, and my dad had to get Halo, so that is the game I grew up on, was Halo. So consoles will always have a fun place in my heart. Always have that little place. And actually, just recently I got into PC gaming. I built myself a rig because I got a job, which is good.
You got a job
So-
outside of this job?
Yeah, exactly.
You're
A
fired.
job that pays.
You're fired.
You're firing everyone. You're down to 2 people.
But yeah, recently, as I've had more PC gaming, like in general, I don't know. I take them both. It's all about the experience. Like when you're buying a console, you're not buying it for the shiny graphics and the new features and everything, because PC has had all the features for even longer than consoles will ever have them. So, I don't know. You're playing console for an experience, and you're playing PC because it's there. But that being said, I think I'd have to go more towards PC side, just because, like Luke said, there's so much more to it, and I can like be programming or something and then just like boot up a game in seconds. So that's cool. And also the fact that there's so many more games and they're so readily available as compared to consoles. So
I would like to add something though when it comes to upgrades in computers. One thing that consoles has going for them is the carefree, like you don't have to worry about requirements.
Drivers, everything, everything behind consoles is pretty
It's a lot more
plug and play.
simplified, and I kind of have missed that ever since my Xbox 360 broke, so I've only had a PC.
Well, it's not broken anymore.
Yeah, thanks God. But that was genuine. But I really like the simplified approach to it, so I'm actually gonna go with consoles. So.
and definitely because like
Take
with
that.
consoles, or at least old consoles, you have to like install games nowadays because they're so big. But with
Yeah.
like the first Xbox, you just put in a game
Yeah,
and you're
and you played
playing
it.
Halo 1
Yeah.
and you just murder your friends.
Right.
But PCs and like newer consoles, you have to install games and stuff, and that takes a while. And downloading games, Steam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you, Cyrus?
Well, I gotta open by saying I think the gap is closing. You know, back in the day, we used to sit four of us around with controllers around our N64 and play cartridge games till the system caught on fire, and then you just wait until it cooled off for a little while and play again. So you'd be sitting around the room for 8 hours laughing with your friends, beating the snot out of Kirby as Donkey Kong in the first Super Smash Brothers game. So that was kind of the experience that I grew up on. And I wasn't really introduced to PC gaming until I picked up Portal 2. That was the first sort of, that was the gateway drug for me in PC gaming, where I really started to see the creation of games as a bit more of an art than the science that I had thought it was before. And I began to experience them a little differently from the sort of raw, natural fun of console gaming that I had experienced when I was younger, into this sort of immersive experience that games like Portal could offer. But that said, last night we were all sitting around playing Gang Beasts and Hammerwatch on PC, and that sort of brought the two together with these with PC gaming making leaps and bounds technologically and just creatively with these interesting mechanics that people are coming up with. It's a pretty amazing thing to see where that gap is starting to close, and in not too terribly long, the differences on just the gameplay side are going to, I think, diminish. That said, with the developer's perspective, I see a couple of issues on both sides whereas an individual who might want to get a game onto a console, you would have to put forth a whole lot of money or come up with, it's a contractual thing. It takes a lot of effort to get into that scene, and you got to get the attention of a publisher. And the downside of that for an independent developer is that there's not a lot of hope to get your game on console glorious and into the mainstream, whereas PC offers a lot of platforms for developers to be able to publish their games at very little cost and to a very broad audience. Now that said, there becomes some different issues on the gamer side. So where it's difficult for a developer to get onto console, it might be difficult for a gamer to get into PC. You see a lot of self-publishing platforms flooded with not very well-made games, and so it would be easy for a console gamer who's used to all this AAA quality to take a look at that and see, why would I want that? I've got all these great games on console. So it's a lot easier to just jump into console gaming. Kind of like, as Luke was saying before, this sort of plug-and-play ease of console gaming for the gamer is definitely nice feature. So I'm gonna have to say both, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, I kind of now have like so many ideas that I'm making my mind are like jumping off of all of you guys' things you said. I think everyone here started with console. I started in a kind of a different light. I didn't really start. I started with like the NES and stuff like that, but that was like 10 or 12 years after the NES was actually out. And I think a lot of people started that way too, but where it kind of escalated for me is because I stuck with Nintendo for a long time. So I went from NES to the N64 to the GameCube, and the GameCube is actually where I stopped with Nintendo. And it was kind of funny because I was actually introduced to first-person shooters on the GameCube with King Kong. Like I had played Halo before, but it was many years before I even knew how big Halo was. I just knew it was an awesome shooter, but I wasn't allowed to play it because it was very dumb. So,
Those were the days.
and honestly, I look at like Halo and it's just a rated M game, and like you have Destiny out now, which is rated T, and it's that kind of thing. But just yeah, Destiny's rated T. But just kind of get back to the
No, they make T-rated games anymore.
yeah, I know, right? It's like
E10 or M?
or Peggy 16. But just kind of get back onto the topic, where it kind of escalated for me was when I got to my senior year in high school, and I was like, I see like a bunch of these PC games like League of Legends, Portal, all these other, and just the client of Steam in general, and I wanted to be a part of that, so I bought myself a laptop, and I got into the PC realm. And I can say this much, like when I first got into it, I was just blown away by like the difference between graphically, PC versus the consoles at the time. Well, like last generation consoles, so Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I was just like, wow, this is leaps and bounds, like more beautiful than what I currently have. So I think that's one thing that PC will always have, and it's always been that way for such a long time. But just to kind of give a history behind the last generation's console, they were up to par with PC specs when they first came out. So like the 360 and the PlayStation 3 both had very, very powerful hardware. So the lines between and PC gaming and console gaming was very thin. Whereas like this generation console, they're so the architecture that they're using in the consoles are pretty much PCs. They're x86 architecture CPUs, and they're using basically AMD's GCN architecture GPUs. So it's like, obviously we're going to be, in this podcast, we'll probably be talking a lot of tech stuff as well, so we'll throw out stuff. If you're not really familiar with that stuff, look it up. But just to...
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They're always right.
And I think everyone here had really fair points for all of it. I myself, it really switches all the time for me, but I would probably say as a whole, I like sticking with consoles more, and it's because I kind of use my console for more of a gaming experience, rather than like on PC, it's just kind of there, and I'll put up a game whenever I'm doing work on my computer or doing modeling on my computer, because it's just like, oh, it's there. But as a whole, this Steam has really good games, but it hasn't really been too many games where I'm just like, okay, I can sit here and play this for hours. It's more of like an overly glorified.
You haven't played Warband Campaign yet.
I know I haven't played Warband Campaign
You
yet,
are missing out.
but I feel almost
I
as
put
if
in 90 hours the first one.
that's pretty much what I did.
I didn't sleep.
Oh god. But I feel like Steam sometimes can be just an overly glorified mobile app, because there's so many games on Steam that can easily be put onto the mobile devices. There's so many 2D games, and there's so many low resolution.
Especially recently, they've like either lowered the quality or just been like letting a bunch of random games on, because there's been a lot of low quality games on Steam recently.
Well, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the people who are into console gaming trying to get into the PC gaming world. There's a lot of trash to wade through to get to the goal.
Because I remember when I first got started in PC gaming, not only did I not have anybody to play with because all my friends were on console still, but I was trying to sift through all the games that I had no clue what were about, and I had to actually pick and choose what I got, and a lot of times I was just like, well, the graphics look good, but there's no content with the story. And I feel like a lot of times what PC gamers sacrifice in is content and story. It's like you have all this power, but you don't have the power to make a good story. Crisis. Crisis, yeah. Crisis is a very good example of that. Because Crisis, like, I played through a lot of the campaign, but it's not compelling.
It's a CryEngine tech demo.
It really is. And that's what I feel like a lot of PC gamers will pump their chests about, and this is why they're so upset about Destiny. Is Destiny honestly is a gorgeous game,
Yeah,
but not because it's got so many particle effects and it has so much of this and that. It's just so simple, but it has the most beautiful art design. Like, you can have as many particle effects in the game as you want, but that will be more distracting to the player in the long term. So, like, I've told you guys before, when I'm playing Battlefield, where that, like, fire grenade goes off, I won't get distracted by it, because it's really cool.
So pretty.
But then it's like, I'm looking at it too long to where I'm getting shot at. And it's like, okay, I get what you're trying to do, and be really relevant for PCs, but have good content behind it, because Battlefield doesn't have good storylines either.
And Battlefield was like crazy bugged when it first came out.
Yeah, even on PC.
Yeah, especially on PC.
I mean, I would argue that it was way more buggier on like the Xbox One than the PC, because they were able to fix it faster on the PC, and that is an advantage with PC.
Updates.
But once again, it is
Same.
updates, but it was like Cyrus was saying, that gap is getting so close. To where, like, even now on consoles they can do it, because the networking is there to where they can just put the update up and go, because that's what Warframe did with the Xbox One. It was like, oh, you have an update for this, okay.
I know for a time I found myself in this position where I was kind of done with consoles, where PC gaming had everything to offer and console gaming was just making the same Call of Duty every year.
Still doing that.
No, pretty much the same time. After my third Xbox 360 broke, I was like, yeah.
It's still doing that.
I'm
But when I
gonna
came to
PC.
realize, coming back to these games, like I said earlier with Hammerwatch and Gang Beasts, where we're all just kind of sitting around, laughing at the hilarious violence going down on screen, that there's something to be said for the community experience of local multiplayer, which you don't really see too much in PC up until very recently. Some people have been doing some excellent work.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago when we were playing Halo 3, just like all of us went into super like guy mode and just started yelling.
Yeah, I mean,
super loud.
and I think with any game like that, especially if you have any type of nostalgia with that game, you're gonna immediately get into it. And I mean, I've been with like people who have played Halo and they just kind of trash talk on it, like, because it's years old and they feel like they're inclined to trash talk about it.
I have the newest Call of Duty. Who needs
Yeah.
Halo?
And I think also to the point that, like, people were getting sick of consoles because the last console generation, the cycle was so long.
6
Very
years.
true.
I think because with the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, there was only like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And people already had a new console. Whereas the 360 lasts, what, 8 years?
6 to 8.
6 to
something
8
like
years?
that.
People were getting tired of it.
We spent the better part of the decade waiting for
A new console.
something new to come around.
Because
Yeah.
I remember talking to my
And-
friends and being like, there will be a new console by the time I get out of high school. And there wasn't.
Yeah, and also like with the new console thing, it took them that long to come out with a console, and it was kind of anticlimactic because
Right.
you waited like 8 years for this new console that's gonna
So-
like run stuff beautifully and work well, and it has like a low-end desktop graphics card in it.
Right.
You would think they would have wanted to play on the sort of buzz that was there
Yeah,
3 and 4 years
earlier-
ago
earlier, yeah.
when everyone was whispering about, oh, there's talk at Microsoft about a new console.
When
And I
people
was
were still
excited.
calling it the Xbox 720
Yeah.
and
Right.
not the
I
Xbox
was-
One.
They even had like ads for that in movies where it said like Xbox 720 and people were like, when's it coming out?
Yeah.
And
then
we
they're
all
like-
wanted it then.
And
But
I
we
think-
gave up hope. And then one
We
came around
moved over to
and
PC.
Exactly, and I think that's what
That's
a
what
lot of
happened.
people
That's
did.
what happened.
And I think
There we
a lot
go.
of people did that primarily because of also one thing that the PC started and is excelling at is the free-to-play model.
Yeah.
League of Legends is a prime example of that. I was just talking about earlier. People started flooding. I know so many people who play Call of Duty. Like I'm convinced of this that a majority of League of Legends users are old Call of Duty players.
Yeah.
Because Call of Duty, and I'm just gonna throw this out there, and this is gonna cause a lot of controversy, but Call of Duty fans are usually bandwagoners. They're
Yeah.
getting on what's popular at the time, and a lot of Call of Duty fans who are still sticking with it are usually people who don't have time to game, and that's kind of a relevant thing because a lot of people simply don't have the time or the luxury of playing hours and hours on end, so they play like a 15-minute game, call it a night kind of thing. But like League of Legends has been sweeping the gaming community by storm because of the idea that it's free to play and it's not asking for any type of microtransactions other than skins. That's a huge bump for the PC.
It's also a short time, high reward when it comes to the gaming experience itself. It's not a puzzle game.
Right.
Right.
It's like Call of Duty. It's so I don't have that much time, but I still want to be entertained. And in a 45-minute span, I can be entertained.
Right.
That's kind of the same with me and CS:GO recently. It's just like 20 minutes I can get a detonation match done and go back to working or
Yeah.
something. Just like quickly jump into a battle and just go on.
I know I find myself turning to all my campy little pixel art flash games. You know, I've been playing Luftrausers and Super Crate Box and Super Amazing Wagon Adventure for the same reason. You can just jump into it and get out of it.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's like also something that I've been doing a lot recently is I'll just like look at my Steam library and I'm like, these games are gonna take a couple hours to get
Yeah.
anywhere in, and I have the time, but I don't want to use that time on that.
And that's something that the PC area has going for it because you can just download it right then and there,
Right.
and it's free to play.
90%
As
off.
compared to a console game, where even though there is a little bit of an indie community and you can download stuff like Minecraft,
Right.
it's still like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay $60 for this.
Minecraft's no longer intended though.
It's true.
I mean,
$2 billion.
Recent news.
well, it's not official yet, so.
Yeah.
But
Probably
to
gonna happen. But we
to
don't-
kind of take a jab at the PC though, one thing I hate more than anything in the PC realm is the PC Master Race fanboys. I think anyone as a whole who is like a moderate PC gamer, I was during the prime of me trying to get into PC, I was like, I'm a PC gamer now.
Mm.
But I was never ridiculous with it and saying that PC is the greatest. I'm abandoning consoles because corporations suck, man, and this whole thing. But like, the more and more I started getting involved in the community, the more and more I realized that PC gamers can be kind of jerks. They're very elitist mindseted people who play like CS Source and call themselves like the PC Master Race because they're playing a 2004 like a 10-year-old game, and it's like, okay, you have a giant PC rig that can run anything in the world, but you choose to play CS Source with your time. It's like you're just basically wasting like all the manpower that you put into building this giant Mondo computer into nothing. Like me and Wyatt both built a computer, and like I actually use mine. We both use ours for like content creation stuff, and then I actually do use it for like high performance games as well. Because I'm kind of more the AAA type of guy. I like playing a ton of the AAA's.
Like to
That's
walk
what I'm
around
doing.
and stare at animated normal maps.
Yeah, animated
Bioshock
normal map.
Infinite. Yeah.
Exactly. But I
glorious.
But I feel as a whole, like, that doesn't mean that the console gamers are any better. It just means that, like, the console gamers just don't care.
Yeah.
They're more inclined to just go play the games and won't care what the PC gamers have to say. They're there to play games. That's what the system is there for.
That's one thing about PC gaming that would tilt me over to consoles. It's just all the PC Master Race guys. They're just like, oh, PC Master Race, we're better, and I'm like, you're
PC,
not.
PC gamers complain with their words. Console gamers complain with their money. If you're not making a good game, they'll just buy something else.
Right.
Because that's all the time they have for it. When PC gamers have so much extra time, you know what they'll do? They'll complain on
Yeah.
5 different blogs.
Because they have. Because
1
that's
out of 10.
Yeah.
F you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is because PC gaming is integrated with your your personal computer. It's like you have the freedom just to go Reddit right away and
Yeah.
post what you think. Whereas, like, if you think about this, if you're annoyed at a game, you have to turn off your console and then go to your PC, log in, and then by that time you're like, it probably wasn't a good idea to talk about anyways. But when you have the freedom to go to Reddit right away,
Instant
psychologically you start
gratification, yeah.
typing stuff and then it just keeps
There's
building
no
on
work
it.
involved. Leave it a bad Steam review. You're already on Steam.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do.
Yeah,
And
and
as I'm
go for it.
As I'm sitting here listening to this, I'm thinking about the difference in the reason for playing.
Continue.
We've lost Wyatt. Oh, good, more light.
Yeah, more light.
Capital.
It's getting dark over here.
As we,
It's getting dark.
I hear sort of this difference between people who want this sort of higher
It's hard to
position.
sit up and-
So they play these hardcore games. There's League players who are really, really proud of where they're at in League, and CS:GO players who are
Money is
really,
silver.
really proud of where they're at in CS:GO. And primarily these are all PC gamers. But you look at people who grew up on console gaming and played because they love games. There's a different reason for playing too. So if you're in it just to have fun, or for the sort of friendship community experience of everyone sitting around your little CRT TV playing Halo 1,
Yes.
which we all still love.
Yeah. Well, I think
Except Tyler, he likes Halo 2.
I'm biased towards Halo 2 because it's freaking awesome. I think as a whole, if you started with console games and then went to PC and then are claiming PC Master Race, it's like, dude,
Traitor.
well, it's like, the often blame is that you, obviously the corporation thing, the indie game thing, everything all that goes along with it, but it's like, dude, you probably had fun growing up with those games. Does that make them less of a good game because they were owned by a corporation that you learned does shady things, by which all companies do shady things? I don't really know of one company that's not out there to get money. That's the whole point of it.
EA.
EA. Yeah. But I heard this one time.
It's on a name dropping bin.
I
It just keeps coughing.
Yeah. I just,
Well, I
I'm not
remember
saying
in the
anything.
Got a cold?
yeah.
I remember the 2013
Cold
E3 when the console, when they're just releasing the consoles, kind of trying to show off what they can do and that kind of thing. Someone was saying who won E3 at 2013? Did PlayStation 4 or Xbox One? Because that was when it was paramount to know who was gonna win, and it was the games, because that's what really matters at E3.
Right.
It showing off your console at E3 doesn't make any sense to me, because it's not a tech demo. It's an expo for games.
It's a gaming convention.
It's not about showing off what you can do with your console, which is good to do at a different conference.
It's like coming to PAX with a new graphics card.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is the fact that they do show off that stuff
Yeah.
at PAX. It's why? I get it, but why? Have some other convention that shows off hardware.
I know. I'm in probably with the crowd who is yeah, tech demo. This thing is like a cable box that also plays Xbox games. That's pretty cool. And then almost wept when I saw the Star Wars Battlefront 3 teaser. You know.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
because that's where we came from. We were all. How many hours do you suppose we spent sitting on this very couch playing Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Well, I didn't
Really
know
would
you
wanna
6
guess.
months ago, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
You were with us in spirit.
Yes, I was playing Battlefront in spirit.
All right.
But
You were with us in the Force.
But I think this kind of
Imagine
comes.
a glowing blue Tyler sitting right here. Sorry.
But I think this kind of comes to the point of like the whole Destiny fiasco right now, is that so many PC gamers are livid that they're not being able to play PC. The game on PC at 60 frames per second, because that's what they really want. They're like, oh no, the game runs at 30 frames per second. Put it on PC and it will run at 60 frames, which is true. It would, but it depends on your hardware. Which also kind of brings up a point of development. Is PC like? Just from all of us having a little bit background in development now, what would you rather make games for? Because personally, in the future, I want to make games for consoles.
I would love to make games for consoles.
Because there's only one piece of hardware that you have to code for. There's only one type of thing that you have to create content for. Whereas PC, you're trying to figure out, okay, how many, like you have to figure out the spectrum of what people have as far as graphics performance and just performance in general.
Mm-hmm.
So having to kind of take all of those things into consideration, I personally would want to make a game for the consoles, and I think that's what Bungie was doing. They're like, no, I know a lot of you like love PC and all, but we're gonna make this game for a console and console only. And I don't honestly think they're gonna make a PC version.
And you know, why were they shocked when they haven't made a Halo for PC since Halo 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pretty terrible, by the way. Like, I mean, other than like it's pretty fun to play, like it's Halo 2 to the core, but like I've had so many, it doesn't even have VSync. Like that's my whole problem with it. It was like it didn't have VSync, so I was running the game at like 600 frames, and it was like it was doing the whole lag thing that we were talking about, where like if you played Halo 2 PC and you have a baller system, yeah, be prepared to not play Halo 2 PC unless you have a frames per second limiter or you have not driver issues like I have, and you can actually
Or just
perform VSync.
run Crysis 3 in the background to slow things down a little bit.
Exactly.
While you're playing Halo 2.
Or
Right.
your computer out to slow things down.
If you're running AMD, you could probably get up to 8 or 900 and
Yeah, you could probably like cook an egg in there
Yeah.
while you're doing that.
We'll say this much: we're kind of Nvidia fanboys.
I don't care.
Because-
I'm the artist.
Yeah, because from a hardware perspective, I personally like Nvidia because, you know, they don't turn into fireballs.
Oh, it's meant to run at 95 degrees Celsius.
it's not a bug, it's a feature.
So it's a bug, it's a feature.
95 Celsius?
But
I don't have a conversion chart with me. That
Do you-
does not sound cold.
No, it's,
do you
it's
guys
quite the opposite.
do you guys know the YouTuber Melanie Mac?
I'm afraid not.
I say no.
Shout out to Melanie Mack, who's that?
She's a gamer who's a girl, because I don't like saying girl gamer. It's just weird. It's like that doesn't make you any different. You're a gamer. You're a gamer who's a girl.
She's a gamer, so.
She's a
She
gamer.
is a gamer.
I just want to
Is she your friend who's a girl?
No, I don't. She's like a
Is
200.
she?
She's like, oh yeah, 200K
How many
subscribers.
subscribers?
She does
Oh,
games.
oh
yeah.
wow, you're popular.
hey, hey, Melanie Mack, have you met my friend Tyler?
But she made a video, and fair enough point. She was like, I just moved to she just moved to LA or something like that, and she had to move her consoles over, which she had to wait to get her consoles to play Destiny, and she's like, I just want to have Destiny on my PC so I can play it now. But in my mind, I'm thinking, that's your problem for moving. It's like PC users have been making a lot of excuses for why they think it should be on PC, but it's like none of them are really valid excuses.
Mhm.
I need it on my $1,500 machine because I can't afford an Xbox.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
at that
can't
rate,
pay $400.
and at that rate, all the
Ugh.
textures and everything that are made for the game are going to be made for a 1080p resolution. I don't think that Destiny was intending to go anything above that.
Mm.
Like, they're like, oh, the consoles are going to do this much, so make it at 1080p for and make all the textures, I don't know, like 2048 by 2048 kind of thing.
4K.
And
So fun to texture.
yeah, I have Destiny, so I can't really say, this is also kind of coming from a biased perspective. I do have Destiny
Biased.
on my console, and I'm able to play it.
A couple of the guys are playing it in the back right now.
Yeah. So,
Hi guys.
A couple
you know,
of the
welcome back.
guys.
so,
That's weird.
Work on my
Stop it.
Twitter account.
so yeah,
Throw
we're
some knives.
we're pretty much at the time, so we can kind of just conclude with our final verdict
Let's
for
just
each
go
other.
in, let's go in order.
Okay, so to summarize, kind of, when it comes to PCs versus consoles. Consoles are more for the people who don't have enough time, who would just want to play the game. PCs are for the people who kind of make it their life.
Right.
And have the time to build a computer, have the time to look up the specs, to download the game, to play all those indie games from the Humble Bundles.
Yeah.
Humble bundle.
So-
You go pick up that Humble Indie Bundle 12 right now, by the way. That is good stuff.
If it's still on by the time this is posted.
It should.
If it's not, I'm
It's gonna be
so
posted
sorry.
tonight. So.
Oh.
You'll
Sick. Do we have the YouTube account for Super Good?
we're gonna make it now, I guess.
Awesome.
So follow us when we create it.
Yeah.
In the future.
Link in the description, guys.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Like, subscribe, link in the description, and a shout out to all of our fans of Super Good Entertainment.
Hi, Mom. and that one. Who was it you were talking about earlier?
Melanie Mac.
And
And Melanie Mac, because you're there, and I kind of took a jab at her actually, but I'm a huge fan of hers, so it's kind of
Huge fan. Number one
huge fan, number one fan, Melanie Mac.
He has you tattooed on his thigh.
Alright, with that, we're gonna conclude.
I went.
So you said
reeling it back in now.
what did let's have an actual answer. So PC or console?
Console.
Okay.
Because I will develop for a console.
Okay.
You could for like just gaming in general.
We've broken our poor programmer.
They're so expensive.
Gaming in general.
Gaming in general, I'd have to say console because they're more dedicated towards local multiplayer, and I really value that in the game.
You know, for me, it has always been about that, for that local multiplayer, for killing an afternoon with my friends, playing Halo or playing Super Smash Brothers. I'm gonna have to say console.
Yep, I'm gonna be right there with. I didn't think all of us were gonna say console. To be
Yeah.
totally honest with you, I thought
This is
I
shocking.
thought
The
Ryan
verdict
was
is
gonna
anonymous.
say console.
I
I thought it was
still-
gonna be you and.
Love PC gaming.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think that's the
Purely,
purely gonna.
purely for gaming, I'd have to say console. For like, just Xbox, record that. For just
Did you guys hear them in the back? This is awkward if they didn't.
yeah.
Xbox
We're just
off.
yelling at them.
Wyatt's hallucinating that he's playing an Xbox.
Like if it's in general, I'd have to say PC, but it's just like the experience is just so there with the console.
Right.
And you don't really get that with the PC. PC, it's all like online multiplayer or single player games. And you don't get like the experience of gathering around a TV to play local multiplayer. Or the experience of holding a controller and sitting in front of a TV.
Yeah.
It's sort of like,
And it's kind of funny because I play consoles differently than most people because I play it on my monitor. I don't play on a TV because out of my whole family, I'm the only gamer in my house, and like nobody else in my house cares about gaming. So I was like, well, if I just hook it up to a monitor, I play consoles how I would play my PC.
Mm.
It's weird because I still use a controller, and people are like, you sit at your desk and play. It's like, yeah, I like it. Like I like that.
Yeah, I could do that.
So the verdict is unanimous.
We all had console.
Console. So.
But I mean, like we want to also reiterate that we're a fan of games. We're
Yeah.
not a fan. We're not loyal to any certain company or title.
games wherever they're at. I mean, we talked a lot about Xbox, but most of us also had PS2s and GameCubes over the years, and we played all just the good games, you know?
Right.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. I never played Kingdom Hearts.
Kirby Air Ride, you know?
Kirby Air Ride.
But yeah, as a
And
whole,
Ratchet and Clank.
My
Oh,
entire
Ratchet and
life.
Clank.
as a whole, just games and like I mean, that's why we're even doing what we're doing. We're a small independent game developers group, company, posse. We're just
Conglomerate.
Conglomerate. We're making games because we want to make the games
that we want to make.
Yeah.
That we want to play.
Yeah.
That you will remember.
And it's like, and
Hopefully.
if I could,
They
if
will
we're-
be your Halo 1 and Super Smash Brothers, and
and
that's
if-
setting a really high standard.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's setting very high standard.
Forget all that.
Yeah.
And if, I mean,
Just-
for me, if I can encourage anyone, it'd be forget your loyalties to whatever console whatever platform you stick to. Try to muddy that loyalty because you're really losing out on a whole other set of games. If you're an Xbox gamer and hates PlayStation, you have a problem because PlayStation has great games.
You never experienced Ratchet and Clank.
And if you're a console gamer and don't like PC, it's like you are missing out on a plethora of games at that rate. And if you're a PC gamer, you're missing out on really cool exclusives
Yeah,
that
yeah,
come
right.
that come to consoles. Like the argument can be made, it's like, well, there shouldn't be exclusives in the first place, but it's like, well, that's competitive. This is a capitalist society, so I mean, it's all about competition in this market. So I think it's cool to have exclusives because you do have kind of that pump your chest. I have this on this console.
And whether or not there should be, there are.
Yeah.
There's gonna be.
And that's with any type of market like this. I mean, if you're gonna have competition, you're gonna have exclusives because that's how that industry works.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody, just play games. Don't play platforms because if you're, I know so many people who choose a platform and neglect the idea of the game itself. Because there are so many game developers out there who are screaming for your attention because they have awesome ideas. That's just my concluding point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. We are Super Good Entertainment, and we will see you again next week.